Hello everybody, it's Aaron back from Screen Stars here once again to do another review for Geek Legion of Doom, and today I'm here to review the horror thriller At Granny's House. A very low budget movie, and in fact it is so low budget that essentially 95% of the movie happens within the confines of this house, Granny's house, and there's only one or two shots outside or in the garden sort of thing. So the vast majority of this film is just filmed in one place, and when it first started I was decidedly unimpressed with this movie because of it was so low budget and the acting was very questionable early on. I didn't think I could hang with this movie. It was a very poor start. However, you do need to adjust your expectations accordingly with a movie like this, and once you get over that initial hurdle with this movie, what you actually have underneath here is an undeniably sinister fun movie that has some impressive qualities to it. However, it also has many problems. What this movie focuses on is a granny, an old lady, who by the orders of her son insists on her having 24-hour care, and they interview a carer, this young lady who turns up, wins over the son. The old lady's not so sure. She ends up moving in with her to become her full-time carer, and essentially she's a bit of a maniac. She's a serial killer, and while there she manipulates the old lady into setting up, because they've got a spare room, setting up a guest room on something called guest.com or something, freebed.com I think it is, where essentially anybody travelling around the country and they can't really afford to stay in a hotel room, they might need gas money or whatever, can stay in this bed overnight for free if you log onto this website. So they set it up, she convinces her that this would be a good idea to meet new people and make new friends, etc. And the vast majority of people that turn up to be guests are lambs to the slaughter basically for this very disturbed young lady who quite likes killing people she takes a dislike to. Not every guest, it certainly hints at quite a few of them. And then there's one in particular that wants to stay there. It's a married couple, and she immediately has designs on the husband and weaves her web over him, turns his head to her. They plan his wife's murder, and then he becomes part of the triangle. He stays there with her, and that's it. It's the triangle. There's the granny, there's the young carer, and there's this husband. There's three of them living in this house, doing pretty dastardly things to the guests that arrive. And that's it. That's the story. I mean, later on it gets to be like a bit more of a thriller. There's a dynamic between the three of, who's going to kill who's going to live, who's going to survive. There's an air of distrust develops between them all, and it kind of moves a little bit a different direction near the end. But that's the general gist of this story. Now, like I say, so a fairly simple story. I actually thought while watching this it worked quite well as a stage play, this, because like I say, it's just one location. For the majority of the movie it's just these three actors, apart from the odd guest that turns up here and there. So it would actually, with better dialogue and stage direction and stuff, it would work quite well as a play, this, I think, a stage play. And now, however, whereas this might be a bit of low budget, sinister, cheap fun to a certain degree, it has an undeniable sinister charm about it, this movie. That doesn't mean it doesn't have problems, because boy, it has a few problems, this movie. Like I say, it's very low budget, takes a bit of getting used to. A big problem for me, because I come from a care background, I worked in care for a long time, is it was quite clear to me that this granny needed no help, needed no care at all, in any way, shape or form. She wasn't disabled, she didn't have a Zimmer frame or anything, she wasn't forgetting things, she didn't have Alzheimer's, dementia, nothing like that. In fact, she seemed quite capable of looking after herself. So there was no reason at all for her to have this carer. I couldn't see. I mean, it probably would have been worthwhile to make it more realistic if they filmed a scene of her falling or something, or being helped off the floor, or forgetting things here and there, or whatever. But they didn't really do that, so it just didn't make sense why she would need any care. The story got a bit repetitive in a sense of, guests turning up. Sequence of the lady not taking kindly to them and then killing them, the next guest, and it got a bit repetitive, and it was a bit like, okay, we've seen this now. The director of this movie is also the male lead in the movie and the romantic interest for the very attractive actress, and there's a couple of saucy scenes in the movie as well, so I tip my hat to you, sir. Nice work if you can get it. Because it did make me wonder when I watched it, because he's not the most handsome man in the world, why she would get so enamoured by him, but he's a director of the film, so fantastic stuff. I thought that was quite amusing when I realised who it was, that he was the director. I thought eventually when the granny came on board, I thought she accepted all this far too easily. She seemed quite level-headed at the beginning, so why she would accept it all so easily when she realises what's going on. And there's a scene as well where a private investigator turns up to look for the husband and wife. Now the husband's staying there, the wife's been murdered, and they spent time setting up the story that she'd left him, and they had her phone and they were posting things on Facebook and what have you, in social media, saying that she were in LA or wherever. So they spent all this time setting up this thing that she'd left him, and then this private investigator turns up, and then they completely forget the story. They hide the guy, and then they try and make up this story. They completely forgot about what they'd already written previously. At least you would have attempted to say, I'm staying here now, she left me. Sorry, I don't know where she is, you'll have to go and have a look. Here's a Facebook profile, I've still got it. This is where she is, I think. So it does seem a little bit bizarre that they didn't do that. But other than that, I had a bit of fun with this movie. It's okay. The three leads, even though there is some seriously questionable acting going on with mainly a lot of the guests that come and stay and the son of the granny, the three leads do an acceptable job, even though they're not fantastic in regards to the acting. I thought the title was possibly a bit misleading as well. At Granny's House, there was no evidence that she was a granny. There were no grandkids running around or anything. She was just old. I think probably something like, a guest house from hell or something would have been a better title, not as misleading, if you like. But other than that, I'll give this movie a 5 out of 10. I've seen far worse, but I've seen far better, and it's not horrifically bad or anything. It's okay, it's watchable, it has some charm. But it is certainly very, very low budget, so prepare yourselves for that if you're going to watch this movie, guys. So thanks for watching.